Well, shooters and reloaders out there, Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to you from the hot lead zone, and this is chapter 9 of the video book on the Lee 358 200 grain round flat nose bullet. That's their new bullet offering for the 38 Special 357 Magnum. Chapter 9 is all about load evaluation for plus P and standard loads with that new bullet before we move on to 357 Magnum loadings. So there's a setup today. We're going to go ahead and shoot those plus P loads, and we're going to go at 25 yards. So okay, to warm up, we fired the first shot out of a cold barrel with the 45-45-10 and the 4.9 grains of HS6 with the 200 grain heavy 38 bullet. The first shot went here. The next 5 at 25 yards went like this with the rest. So that's not too bad. But then we shot the powder coat, and unfortunately the powder coat put 5 rounds like this. 2 rounds went in there, and then the other 3 here. So we got more dispersion with the powder coat. 45-45-10 powder coat. So here we are shooting plus P's. So the recoil is not anything to be excited about, but here's what it looks like. So here we are shooting gas check plus P powder coated at 12.5 yards from the roof.
I will be closing the till in about 15 minutes.
Uh-oh, sorry to tell you this, but the non-powder coated bullets shot a lot tighter. Well, you've all heard Larry Potterfield over there at Midway USA say that only accurate rifles are interesting, and that is so very true. But that also applies to ammunition and bullets. Only accurate ammunition and accurate bullets are interesting. So is this bullet interesting? No one that shoots a .41 6-inch group, for instance, like this one, can make a statement that this rifle is accurate or the ammo is accurate, because rifles are different and the same ammo in different rifles may not shoot as well. And there's also shooter error. So what we want to do is to eliminate as many variables as possible so we can get a good comparison, so that you out there can decide for yourself whether you want to try this bullet or not. Now, you cannot beat accuracy comparisons if there's lots of data. And here's what we have here. Cast bullets like this, whether they're lubed with standard lubes or 45-45-10, they've been around for the last 200 years over. And so there's lots of data about cast bullets. And we know that cast bullets can shoot very accurately. Now, when it comes to powder coated bullets, they've only been around for about 10 years or so in terms of being used by a lot of shooters. And there's not a lot of data available for powder coated bullets. So you can't help getting into this bullet without looking at the comparison between powder coated and regular lube bullets. Now if you look at these magazines, I call these things rags, or even things such as Gun Digest. These are the rags, and there's lots of them. Lots of information about cast bullets in these things, but nothing about powder coated bullets. If you look at the TV shows, lots of stuff about cast bullets, zero on powder coated bullets. So data, where's the data on powder coated bullets? I know a lot of you out there have data, but you don't see a lot of it being put on TV or rags, and in fact on YouTube you don't see any numbers on powder coated bullets. A lot of people shooting powder coated bullets, including myself, but we haven't put any data out there. So this video is kind of like groundbreaking, because you're going to see some numbers in this video that you don't see on other YouTube videos. You don't see it on TV, you don't see it in the rags. Let's look at some of these numbers. However, to be fair to the ammunition, I am using two very accurate firearms chambered for 357 Magnum 38 Special. So you will see these referred to, but again, we're looking at comparison of the data and not the accuracy of the individual firearm. Now testing was done at 12.5 yards and also at 25 yards. And so first of all, let's establish some accuracy baselines using the rifle from the Caldwell lead sled rest. Very steady rest. And we started at 12.5 yards. And here you see a standard load of 4.8 to 4.9 grains of HS6 with that 208.5 grain Lee round nose heavy 38 Special 357 Magnum bullet. So at 12.5 yards, the 94 Winchester standard load shot this group of .249 inch. Now same load, same distance, all the variables the same, shooting. The only difference is we use the powder coated bullets, and it shot a .580 group. So the difference is .249 to .580, or roughly twice the size of the group at 12.5 yards with powder coat. And the differences would be magnified by 2 times at 25 yards. Now the same ammo shot in the Ruger 357 Magnum Blackhawk 6.5 inch, and I didn't save the target for that one, but the same differences were apparent. The standard loading with the Ruger gave me a 1.125 inch group with the 45-45-10, and with the powder coat it gave me a 1.5 inch group. Now the difference would be roughly a 2.5 inch group at 25 yards compared to a 3 inch group. Now you know that data that we just presented was compiled from a previous range test session that was done at 12.5 yards. Well, what about 25 yards? So we need to look at 25 yards and also 12.5 and 25 with the plus P loads. So let's go ahead, and yesterday we did another range session starting at 25 yards with the standard loads. And so here's the results of that. 25 yards from a rest, the first shot cold barrel hit here, next 5 shots hit there. If it wasn't for that one flyer, we would have had a very nice group at 25 yards from a rest. As it is, we got a 929 inch group with that standard load of 4.8 to 4.9 grains of HS6 and that heavy 38 357 Magnum bullet. So again, this is the non-powder coat. This is the 45-45-10 group, 929. So how does that compare with the powder coat? Now these of course are not gas checked loads. So how does that compare with the powder coat? The only change was the powder coat bullet was substituted, and we got at 25 yards from a rest 1.654 inch group, 5 shots, 2 went in that hole right there, and so it didn't shoot as well as the 45-45-10 bullet. The powder coat at 25 yards was bigger by 0.7 inches, over 0.7 inches bigger. Now I know how sensitive you viewers are out there, and there are a lot of powder coat fans. I want you to know that I'm a fan of all kinds of bullet coatings, powder coated 45-45-10. This is objective data that we're presenting here, not a bash on powder coat. Well, I'd switch to the plus P loads next, and those are the 5.4 to 5.5 grains of HS6. That's plus P with the same bullet. And so first we shot the 45-45-10 without the gas checks. Plus P. Got a 1.266 inch group with the 45-45-10. Switching to the plus P powder coated bullets, we got 2.510 inch group at 25 yards. So this is twice the size of the group of the 45-45-10. So I know how you're interested in seeing how the gas check bullets did. So first up was the 45-45-10 with the gas check. Again, these are plus P loads. And that gave us a 1.116 inch group with the gas checked 45-45-10 bullets. Then we continued at 25 yards and switched to the powder coated gas check. So 1.872 inch group with a powder coated gas check bullet. So again, that's a bigger group than the 45-45-10 gave us by again over 0.7 inches bigger. So the 45-45-10 is outperforming the powder coat at 25 yards with all loads. Now once again, my apologies for not saving the targets from the previous range session on the Ruger Blackhawk 6.5 inch, but those targets are available on my video that is in chapter 8. What they showed was that the standard loadings in the Ruger Blackhawk shot tighter groups with the 45-45-10 than the powder coated without the gas checks. So no gas checks, the 45-45-10 shot a 1.125 inch group compared to the powder coated bullet that shot a 1.5 inch group. First the 45-45-10 without the gas check, and that shot a 0.982 inch group with a plus P loading and no gas check. 0.982. Well, then we switched to the powder coated bullets without the gas check, and we got a 961. So the powder coated actually shot a very slightly tighter group at 12.5 yards with the plus P loads than the non-powder coated bullet. So the difference is 0.02 tighter with the powder coated bullets. Then switching to the gas check bullets, here's what we got. Again, 12.5 yards plus P loads with the Ruger. 45-45-10 with the gas check got us a 1.101 inch group. The powder coated bullets with the gas check plus P gave us a 1.835 inch group. So with the gas checks, the 45-45-10 outshot the powder coated gas check by about 0.735. Show you the whole thing there. So let's go ahead and compile our data and draw some conclusions. With the Winchester Model 94 short carbine, if we want to shoot standard loads, the 45-45-10 is the easy answer. And that is, it'll shoot accurately at 12.5 and easily at 25 yards, less than 1 inch accuracy. So if you're going to go after small game, or if you're going to be plinking at tin cans, recreational shooting, that's the load for you. 45-45-10 bullets with the 4.8 to 4.9 grains of HS6. Incidentally, that load chronographs at 788 feet per second from the carbine. And that's a very soft shooting load. You can shoot it all day, easy for anyone to shoot. Now, if you want a little more power and go to plus P with that 94 carbine, then the answer is using the 45-45-10 with a bigger charge of the HS6 5.4 to 5.5 grains, and that gives you 878 feet per second, so about 100 feet per second more velocity. And that gives you accuracy that is better than the powder coated 25 yards. At 12.5, there's no real difference. In fact, you can get a little better accuracy with the powder coated bullet, but it's not significant. The use of gas checks is not called for, as you're only gaining less than 0.1. You're gaining about 0.05 inch better accuracy, but it's costing you 4 or 5 cents more per shot. Not recommended. So the 45-45-10 bullet with the plus P loading and no gas checks will do for your uses all the way out to, say, 35 yards or even 40 yards. If you double this group, we'll have to test at 50 though. Now, since the velocity of the 45-45-10 plus P load is 878 feet per second, and the powder coat gives you 880, only 2 feet per second more, you would think that the same velocity, there's no advantage that you would use the 45-45-10 bullet with the plus P for everything, because it's as accurate as the gas check and better economy. However, there are two cases where the powder coat would win out, and that is with the powder coated gas check bullet. You got better accuracy than the powder coated without the gas check by a significant amount. Plus, for hunting, the powder coated bullet gives you the advantage of no lead exposures, encapsulated, so that when that bullet crashes through your deer, the lead exposure is not going to be a problem. So hunting, the powder coated bullet would probably be better. And if you're shooting at indoor ranges where they don't like to have exposed lead, then there you have it. You can shoot the powder coated with gas check. Now with the Ruger 6.5 inch Blackhawk at 12.5 to 15 yards, the most reasonable would be to use a 45-45-10 because it either shoots better accuracy than the powder coated bullets, or it's close enough that it doesn't make any difference. Now the stars are on the 45-45-10 because of either better accuracy or practicality, but we have to keep in mind that the powder coated bullets have other advantages that will offset the use of plain 45-45-10 in our handguns, and that is, at short range the accuracy is fine, plus you don't have to handle any exposed lead either in reloading or in shooting, and there's less smoke. So if you're competing in the action games outdoors or even indoors, the powder coat is better bullet to use indoors, plus the less smoke makes a big difference in the competitions outdoors. Now I'd like to say hi to a fine shooter named Bruce that I met yesterday at the range. He's very knowledgeable, and he also had a sampler of different color powder coats that he had done for his 45, and very nice powder, higher quality than what we see with Harbor Freight. And so the world of powder coat includes a lot of different powders that we haven't tried yet, and in addition to that, the Harbor Freight yellow actually looks like it's a thinner coating than the red, and that might be better with a retest with the yellow. kind of thing that statistically we would have to gather a lot more data to be definitive in any kind of comparisons that we have, but this video will give us some nice general considerations, general comparisons that we can use. However, we do have real good accuracy baselines from our 45-45-10 cast bullets. Now certainly for longer range shooting we have to be concerned with the stabilization of these long heavy bullets, because the longer the bullet is, the heavier the bullet is, the faster rifling we're going to need to stabilize these bullets. We're going to need more velocity with these, especially if we get out to 75 to 100 yards, and that's where the 357 Magnum loadings come in, and we'll go to those in the next chapter, chapter 10.